social studies lesson on the history of Thanksgiving. So the history is like, why do we have Thanksgiving? What happened in the past that has given us the holiday Thanksgiving? So, long ago, now this is going to be a Kahoot, in the early 1600s, it's like 1620. You guys remember that? 1620. So that was over like 400 years ago. People in England, so that's the country across from our country, the USA, they did not want to be controlled by the king. His name was King George. And he was the king, so he was like the ruler, and he told the people what they needed to do, and a lot of it was like about their church, and they did not like that. And he said anyone who didn't listen to him and follow the rules, they would be sent to jail, whether they liked it or not. So those people in England did not like that. They did not like that. So these people wanted to be free from the king. And so they left on this ship. Do you guys remember this ship called the Mayflower?
Yeah.
Ooh. Who remembers?
I remember from England is the HMS Victory.
Oh, okay. Do you guys remember Christopher Columbus and he had the three ships?
Yeah.
The Santa Maria,
Yeah.
the Pinta,
Yeah.
and what was the other one?
Titanic.
No, not the Titanic. The Santa Maria, the Nina, and the Pinta. So very similar to Christopher Columbus. But these pilgrims wanted to sail across and find a new world where they could be free. And so they went on the ship called the Mayflower. Can you guys say that?
The Mayflower.
So they went on a ship called the Mayflower. And they sailed from England, so this is where England is, across the Atlantic Ocean to America. And here in America is called Plymouth. And that is where they landed, is on Plymouth. So where did they land?
Plymouth.
Plymouth.
Where we live?
Nope. Well, they sailed to America. But
Where
Plymouth,
we live.
where we live, yes. Yes. Now, these brave travelers were called the Pilgrims. And they landed in Plymouth after a long 66-day journey. So 2 months on the boat. And it was November 11th, 1620. You guys remember that number?
My dad was
1620.
born before that.
The cold winter had set in. So they arrived in November. And we know what November is like in Minnesota. It's kind of cold. And so they got a cold winter. And the land was kind of strange to them, and nothing seemed familiar. So they came to this new land. They didn't know where to go. It's cold. They didn't have any food. What were they going to do? Addie, what do you think they could do?
They could like go and because they could break the ice from the lake to get water.
Yeah, they could. They used the snow and the ice to make water, or like melt it to make water. What else could they do? Ellie?
They could like find animals to make food.
Yeah, find animals, because we know that we eat animals so they can hunt for food. Good idea, Ellie. Rain?
I was about to say hunt food.
Hunt for food. Wyatt? Forgot. Kinsley, what do you think they could do?
They could hunt for animals to make clothes.
Hunt for animals to make clothes. Ellie, A.
They can ask other people for food.
Ask other people for food. And that's what they did, okay? So, before we find out who those people are, I want you to think, how would you feel if you were one of the pilgrims?
Sad.
How do you guys think you feel? Ingrid, how do you feel?
Sad.
Sad. Addie said happy, or sad. You said happy. Louis, why did you say happy? Maybe because you you're away from the king.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was
So maybe a little happy, but maybe a little sad.
Yeah.
Briley, how would you feel? Would you be scared or nervous? Because you don't know where you're at. You don't have any food. It's cold. You might not even have a place to live. Rain?
I'd feel kind of scared, kind of not, and I'd kind of feel like sad and happy
Yeah.
at the same time.
So let's see. This is a picture of, it's called Plymouth Rock, which is still there today. It still is there, and it stands for what is now Massachusetts. So if you go to the state of Massachusetts, this rock is still there. And John Smith, an explorer, decided to name the area Plymouth because they had set sail from the port of Plymouth in England.
That's
So that's where they left.
It says John's name on it.
John Smith, an
John's
explorer.
name. It's John's name.
Now, over half of the pilgrims did not survive
What?
their first winter in America. Half of them didn't survive. A terrible disease swept through the colony and made many fell ill and died. Kind of like the coronavirus. You know that's going around now? A lot of people, just a minute. A lot of people now are dying from the coronavirus. Luckily, it's not a lot of young people, but a lot of older people are dying. So that's what happened to the pilgrims. Not only did they not have food or shelter, but they also got this disease and they got really sick and
That's
they
what
died.
happened to my Uncle Brady's
Okay.
animal.
Now, luckily, these are the people that Ellie was kind of mentioning. Luckily, Native Americans helped by supplying them with seeds and food, teaching them about their new land or their new home, and giving them the skills they needed to survive in a strange new world. So these are the Native Americans. These are the people that were here first in America before the pilgrims got here. Okay? Kinsley.
The stuff that's on there could be from like the animal that they ate.
Definitely. They could eat an animal. Definitely. These are the people that taught them how to hunt, too. Wyatt.
So how come back in the 1800s, how come the Native Americans were mean to us?
I don't know if they were mean. They were just trying to fight and protect their land. Because really, what happened is that the Native Americans were here first, and all these pilgrims and other people came to America, and they kind of took over their land. So they kind of didn't think that was fair. All right, now, one of the main leaders was Squanto, and he was a very important Native American that helped the pilgrims. He was the one that translated for John Smith because the English, or the pilgrims, talked English. The Native Americans spoke their language, so they could not understand each other. So, Squanto was the one that could communicate between the two groups. And he also taught them how to farm and how to grow crops so that they would have food to eat. So if it wasn't for Squanto, I don't know if we would still be here today. Ellie.
I think I have a toy that is exactly it.
You think you have a what?
A toy that is exactly
Oh, really?
like that at my dad's house.
Just like Squanto? Okay. Addie.
Who was the first person to die?
Oh, the first person died. I have no clue who that was.
My grandma, I asked Grandma Darla, she has a big Bible,
Oh.
and so I asked her, and she actually told me.
Okay.
And I
All right.
know he starts
Now, to thank the Native Americans, the fall harvest was a good one. To celebrate their good fortune, the pilgrims had a feast of Thanksgiving. So this was the way for them to thank the Native Americans for teaching them how to survive, how to hunt for food, how to build a house. They taught them basically how to survive in America. So they had a huge feast to celebrate that. Okay? I'm gonna skip that. Their feast includes a variety of food, including wild turkey, duck, venison, which is deer, along with fish, pumpkins, squash, corn, sweet potatoes, and cranberries. And some of you might have some of that food for Thanksgiving this year, and you might not, but
What's
most
cranberry?
Thanksgiving feasts kind of have food very similar to that.
What's cranberry?
Cranberries are they're berries,
Yeah.
but they get smushed, and then you can make like cranberry sauce. And usually you'll eat them not whole because they're kind of hard, but you'll eat them smushed.
They sound gross.
No,
They're actually, most people really like them. I personally don't, but my whole family loves
I
them.
don't eat
Yeah.
They're just a little,
They're
Miss Shaw loves them too, huh? They're just a little tart for me.
Ew.
They're
my favorite.
they're just a berry, just like strawberries, blueberries, cranberries. They're just a berry. They're just a little bit more, I'd say, tart.
I'd say they have like a little bit of tart, bitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and most people love that. But I'll eat a little bit. I just won't eat a lot of
I
them.
don't like strawberries over here.
Well, then you probably wouldn't like cranberries. Corla.
So I learned that from my great grandma, and
Thanks,
she
Sophie. You
was
need to move
my
that thing a little.
other grandma's grandma,
Yeah.
and she died this morning.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
What?
What?
I'm sorry, Corla.
I didn't hear it.
Say it one more time.
My grandma's grandma, she died this morning.
Her grandma's grandma. So that'd be like your great grandma.
Like today?
Was she sick or was
today?
she old?
I don't know how old she is.
Oh, your grandma's grandma. So that's more than a great.
So,
Thinking about it.
Wait, she
Her
died
mom's
today? Was it
grandma
today?
died a couple days ago.
Yeah,
Maybe
today.
that's-
What are you talking about?
Was it your mom's grandma? That died a couple days ago, Michelle said. Or was it another one this morning? Okay.
Wait, today?
Now,
Like-
I want you to think. Do you guys eat some of the same things they ate at the first Thanksgiving during your Thanksgiving dinner? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, President Abraham Lincoln in 1864, he made Thanksgiving a national holiday to be celebrated on the fourth Thursday in the month of November. So that is why we celebrate Thanksgiving, is because President Lincoln said it needs to be a national holiday.
That was in 2016.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
We will, what did the Pilgrims do for fun? The men and boy Pilgrims played games, had contests, hand wrestled, shot a bow and arrow for fun, and the women and the girls cooked and prepared the meals. The women also sewed for their villages. So they worked very hard
The villages?
for their families. Now, what did the Native Americans do for fun? Many Native Americans would play drums, sing songs, and dance. One of their favorite things to do was to tell stories. They would tell stories for them to pass down from generation to generation because they didn't have books. So if I told my girls a story, my girls would tell their kids a story, and that would just keep being passed down, that story, from generation to generation,
Everybody, like,
Yeah.
everybody else.
because they did not have
Like,
books. Yep. Now, this is what the Pilgrims wore. Look at their outfits. The men wore a felt hat. They wore this long black, it looks like, not necessarily a suit, but a black shirt with pants. Did the pants go all the way to the bottom?
No.
No, but they wore stockings.
Shoot.
They had cuffs. And then they had, this was called a doublet. So their shirt was called a doublet. And they also had a ruffle up here. And they had their cuffs. And then they had their shoes. And look at their shoes. What do you notice about their shoes?
They're really old.
They're old. Why do you say they're old, Louis? What's
But they look old.
because of the belt, the buckle?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't wear shoes like that now, do we?
It's like this. Maybe after this bit buckle.
Okay, now the women were, the top is called a waistcoat. They wore an apron with a petticoat. And the petticoat is like a dress. And then they definitely had a shirt. And then they had a coif. And that was like their head. Covering.
Bonnet.
Okay. Now, what did the Native Americans wear? most of the time, Native Americans would use animal hides for their clothing. Generally, they used the hides of animals they hunted for food. They loved to decorate their clothing with feathers and many different colors. So if you look at this person, their outfit is made mainly from the animal that they hunted.
It's like
birds,
this turkey. It's like from
No, not from chicken.
what's it called? Like I can't think.
You can't think of it.
No, like what we have for Thanksgiving? Turkey.
Turkey?
Turkey.
Oh, like
Yeah,
the
but
feathers?
Turkey feather, like from the back.
Yeah, they probably do have them.
That looks like a feather.
Yeah, they have lots of different feathers. Pheasants or turkeys or...
That looks like I mean, like I would
Or like a
wear-
feather.
Okay, let me see if they have... Oh, they don't have... I thought they had maybe a diagram, but they don't. Okay, why did you have something to say?
So you know that part when Abraham Lincoln said that he wasn't alive in 1864.
He was alive in 1864. Yep, 1864. That was a long time ago. He was the president at that time. Yep, he was alive then.
But were you
No,
guys not alive?
no. Mrs. Shaw and I were not alive in 18.
What?
That's
My
Like,
dad
oh,
was probably
no,
alive.
your dad wasn't alive then. No, this was
Maybe
the
my
1800s.
grandma?
We're now in the 2000s.
Maybe grandma's.
No. Okay, last thing, Ellie.
Maybe.
Shh.
The feathers kind of look like a bald eagle.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I don't know about eagles. I know nowadays we can't hunt eagles, but they might have back then been able to hunt them. Now, the last thing, now that you know a little bit about the history of why we celebrate Thanksgiving in America, remember, happy Thanksgiving, and I want you to keep thinking. I know Mrs. Murphy had you do it on your attendance today, but keep thinking, what are you thankful for this year? And we have a lot to be thankful for. We've had a rough year, but we have a lot to be thankful for, okay? All right, now.